Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and we're going to talk about GameStop. We're not going to talk about their stock situation, their stonks, a whole lot, but we're going to talk about the fact that they are looking for a new CEO. Yeah. So what is going on at GameStop? I'm actually surprised they're still in business. I think they got a little bit of a stock boost. I wonder if the new guy or girl is going to get paid better because of it. I don't know. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some of the GameStop drama and whether or not we think GameStop's going to be around in a couple of years. I don't know. I mean, people seem to really be interested and invested in physical game media again. A lot of the PS5s that were sold, as I understand it, were the ones with the disk drives. People want to have physical media, but we know GameStop totally rips people off. When it comes to buying your used games, it is not a good deal at all. So we're going to talk about that. Before we get into it, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 185,000 subs. Thank you for the support. We do talk about video games, talk about animation, talk about anime, comics, cartoons, movies, whatever interests us that day. And GameStop has been pretty interesting this year. A lot of people thought that they would go quietly into the night, that they would just sort of disappear, especially during the pandemic. We heard these crazy stories about how they were trying to stay open during the pandemic, saying that they were essential, making their employees, beg, borrow hand sanitizer, bring their own stuff in. A lot of crazy stories around GameStop. And then, of course, we had the Stonk debacle a couple of months ago that people were driving the stock prices up on GameStop. I did not get in on that. I'm like, this is going to totally burst. And I think some people got in late. Although I did hear my mom made about $2,000. I think she told me she actually got into it. She made like $2,000. But now they're on the hunt for a new CEO. Now, this is coming from Derezed, courtesy of one of our writers, Mike. Derezed is actually it's not really a news site. It is a site we're reactivating because we think there's a need for more unbiased pop culture journalism. So we've quietly been, putting up a lot of articles. We've been hiring some writers to write on Derezed. We're going to give it a shot and see what happens. See if there is still a demand for unbiased pop culture, video game news. Enough with the CBR, clickbait and that sort of thing. We're going to roll the clock back. We want to roll the clock back about 10 years to where these news sites used to be. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I can't make any guarantees, but Mike put this up. So thank you, Mike. GameStop is on the hunt for a new CEO. He's talking about whether or not you ever worked at GameStop. I guess he did. He worked at GameStop. I've never worked at GameStop. I have a good friend that worked at GameStop when it was EB, but I have heard stories. I've heard stories about GameStop. So he was talking about the back room being packed with Nokia N-Gages. It was like Fort Knox for unwanted tech. The manager would frisk employees at the end of the night to make sure they weren't trying to steal N-Gage phones. Yes, really. Anyway. He says the corporate office is in disarray. Reuters broke the news that GameStop is actively looking for someone to replace the current CEO, George Sherman. Even with the spiking stock values, thanks to investors from Reddit, GME isn't holding strong. The stock has been falling and was downgraded by analysts this week. So let's go out to Reuters here. Exclusive: GameStop initiates search for new CEO. Sources. They said GameStop Corp is looking for a new chief executive to replace George Sherman as it pivots from a brick-and-mortar video game retailer to an e-commerce firm. 3 people familiar with the matter said on Monday. It would be the biggest shakeup at GameStop since Ryan Cohen, the co-founder and former chief executive of online pet food company Chewy Inc., joined its board in January and began laying the groundwork for a shift in culture and strategy. People familiar with his work at GameStop said. Its stock is up almost 4,000% from a year ago after it became the poster child of day traders betting on so-called meme stocks. GameStop's board is working with an executive headhunter on the CEO's search, said the sources who requested anonymity because the matter is confidential. Several GameStop board directors are involved in the search and have spoken with potential candidates from the gaming industry, as well as the e-commerce and technology sectors. the sources said. A GameStop spokesman declined to comment. Yeah, they always decline to comment. Hey, why are you making your employees work during a pandemic and making them basically tell the authorities to go away and say that you're essential? It's essential that you get your overpriced pre-owned copies of last year's sports game, right? That's essential. GameStop shares ended trading on Monday down 11% at 141.04, giving the company a market value of about $10 billion. GameStop's not worth $10 billion. The stock hit a record high of $483 in January. The CEO replacement is the latest in a string of changes pursued by Cohen since he joined GameStop's board. We're going to talk about the rotating board of directors here. Former Chief Financial Officer Jim Bell and Chief Customer Service Officer Frank Hamlin are among the senior executives who left the company in recent weeks. Sherman, who has been CEO since April of 2019, God, they don't last long, do they? Has been credited internally with slashing costs and steering GameStop through the pandemic that led many retailers to go out of business. And again, it's very dubious how they held on. It is. But Sherman's 25 years of experience have been largely with brick and mortar retailers, Advance Auto Parts, Home Depot, etc. Cohen, who last week was named GameStop's board chairman, is seeking to make the company the online destination for video game fans, just as Chewy won over pet lovers. Is this going to be like, are they going to do like Loot Crate type shit? Is that what they're thinking about doing? Like, I could totally see them doing it. I could be like, here's a box of used games. Scuffed discs and some pop vinyls. We'll throw them in here. Some other collectibles that have, beat to crap boxes. We just kind of throw them in there. I don't know. Throw in some N-Gage phones too. He pushed for a number of hires at GameStop, including Elliot Wilk as Chief Growth Officer, Jenna Owens as Chief Operating Officer, and Matt Francis as Chief Technology Officer. They all worked at Amazon. So they want to turn GameStop into like an Amazon online store. The problem is you're not going to be able to compete with Amazon. I don't think you're going to be able to compete with Amazon because they sell games too, and they're going to undercut. Like, that's not a good business model. This isn't going to go well. People go to GameStop because they want to go into the store. They want to physically hold the games in their hands. They want to talk to other gamers. And they want to buy pop vinyls, I guess. That's why they go. And retro gaming is coming back. I mean, if I were in charge of GameStop, and I'm not in charge of GameStop, I would actually double down on selling retro games, stuff like that. We saw that a mint copy of Super Mario Brothers sold for $600,000. A lot of these games are selling for a lot of money at auction. And that's something that's kind of dicey to buy online because you don't know what condition you're going to get it in. If it were me, I would actually stock a lot of vintage games, graded games, kind of like a comic book shop. But that's just me, and that's why I'm not in charge, I guess. Cohen brought in some other people from Chewy, including Andrea Wolf as Vice President of Brand Development, Nita Pacifico as Senior Vice President of E-Commerce, and Kelly Durkin as Senior Vice President of Customer Care. So the rally has fizzled for GameStop. Many Wall Street analysts remain skeptical about the company's ability to reinvent itself. It's not going to happen. Basically, it was a short-term boost. It was funny to see GameStop, which is basically doomed. GameStop is doomed to see them get an extra one-up. That's basically what happened. We remain very concerned about the long-term prospects for GameStop's video game business, especially once hardware sales temper and the installed base matures, says Edward Wu, an analyst. Now, Reggie Aimé was on the board, and now he's not. That was actually a good sign. A lot of people were excited that Reggie was coming in to GameStop, and he's leaving this summer. Several people leaving. When Reggie is out, it's over. We had, the only one that stayed on, I guess, is, let's see here. Among the departing directors is former Nintendo president Reggie, former Walmart U.S. CEO William Bill Simon, and PetSmart president and CEO James J.K. Szymanczyk. All three joined in March of 2020, and they left already. The retailer noted turnover among our board may disrupt our operations, our strategic focus, and our ability to drive stockholder value. So basically at this point, they just want to be an Amazon competitor. And it's not going to go well. I'm going to be honest. I think it's game over for GameStop. I think they're living on borrowed time. People can just buy their games from Amazon unless they don't want to. And again, it's that brick and mortar component that sets GameStop apart from everybody else. Like, yeah, sure, you can just buy your games from Amazon, but you want to go in, you want to see the games, you want to hold the games, you want to talk to other gamers. That's something that can't be replicated online, and for them to go head to head with Amazon, I think is suicide, for sure. But yeah, check out Mike's article. He's actually asking if anyone else has worked at GameStop, if they have horror stories about working at GameStop. I'm going to put a link in the comments section. You can go out, help us get Derez started. We want to definitely give you guys an alternative to a lot of the other sites out there, the Kotakus and all of that, Polygon. I don't know how it's going to go. I mean, I'm not going to make promises that it's going to blow up or anything, but at least we will try to give you guys an alternative news outlet in addition to Clownfish TV. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants, guys, and we will talk later.